Have everybody come back to order here. Just wanted to check with council or whatever, and so we're going to, the hearing, the docket PZ 19001 is now closed. And as always, I'm going to ask Mr. Urban and Mr. Carter to outline what is being requested under this particular docket. I'll go with Mr. Urban first.
Well, there we go. This, of course, is a preliminary subdivision plan on 78.8 acres on Goshen Lane. The Planning Commission's challenge today is to sort through all the factual information. I want to remind the commission members that we kind of, all year long and in all the training, we prepare for a decision like this, that we talk specifically in your motion about being factual-based and being very specific about what your motion might be. As always, you have in your staff report both a motion, potential motion for either approval or denial. You really do have to be specific in that and make sure that you use, and you can, as always, the information that's been submitted to you today, the testimony that you've heard can be used as part of that factual information. There are proposed binding elements. If we should get to the point where the motion is for approval, then I can tell you what I believe those binding elements are, having heard that testimony.
Mr. Carter.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll turn your mic on there. And just outline what we normally do, you know, at this point in the docket.
The opinion about it.
Opinion, yes, sure.
Yes, there's a, in your handout, there are suggestions on motions to approve and motions to, a motion to deny. And you have to state with specificity why you're going to approve or why you're going to not deny, if that is your choice. Is there anything else you want me to address?
This issue of density.
Well, on the issue of density, the regulation that the subdivision is proposed under is open space subdivisions. The open space subdivision concept allows open spaces in a subdivision, like in CO1, part of this subdivision is in CO1 and part of it is R2. In CO1, if it was all CO1, you would take the number of acres in CO1, and that would be the number of lots that you could have. But in an open space subdivision, you can reduce the size of the lots, or the residential lots, but not increase them. That is, you have an open space with smaller lots to allow for whatever it is you want to do. So in our subdivision regulation, it says the number of dwelling units shall not exceed the maximum development density of a conventional subdivision located in the same zoning district. Well, the zoning district is CO1. They have 38 acres, and they're proposing 57 residential lots. And that exceeds the number that's allowed in that zoning district. And because that's in our regulations do not violate the zoning laws, because the zoning laws allow that as long as you don't exceed the density requirement. You can change, what you're doing when you do an open space subdivision is you're not changing the zoning. What you're doing is you're giving variances on lot sizes. You're making the lots smaller and the open space larger. So.
Okay. All right, commissioners, you have heard our Mr. Urban outline what's usually required at this point on motions, and Mr. Urban has also outlined, Mr. Carter has also outlined his thoughts on this particular docket. So at this time, the chair would now entertain a motion on docket PZ 19001, which is an application filed by the Pulte Group for the approval of a preliminary open space subdivision plan for 80 lots on approximately 78.83 acres to be known as Goshen Place. So the chair would entertain a motion either to approve or deny at this point. Ms. Bonet?
On docket number PZ 19-001, I move to deny the docket. It does not comply with multiple objectives of the comprehensive plan regarding transportation and environmental protection. It also does not comply with all the regulations in the subdivision regs, specifically where stated under open space subdivision, the development of an open space subdivision is not intended to allow increased densities using land with marginal development potential, which is what I feel like they're doing with the Blue Line Stream, sinkholes, and other environmental unique factors on this property. With transportation, the traffic studies may look at the numbers. They do not look at the unique characteristics. A 20-foot recommended width for a sub-collector is the recommended width. They are willing to widen it to 18, but that does not reach the recommended width. And considering the 90-degree turns and other factors in that area, I just don't think that they meet that criteria to make it a safe environment.
Okay,
Is that enough?
all right. Mr. Carter, is that an adequate motion, sir?
I would only add that, yes, it does, but I would only add that it does not comport with the, let me find it.
Well, he's suggesting.
Yeah, I'm
He's not
Is he
asking.
suggesting the part about the CO1 density?
Yeah, that
I
it
purposefully chose.
doesn't comport with section 5.12 of the open space subdivision regulations, in that the CO1 portion of the development plan has 57 lots, whereas the density requirements in CO1 would only allow 38 lots.
I am more than willing to include that in my motion. However, the reason I left it out is that I felt that there would be disagreement among the other attorneys on opposing sides, and I wanted them to be aware that that is not my primary reason for moving to deny. While I do agree with what you just stated, if it's the pleasure of the commission, I will include it in my motion.
Well, you're putting together a motion. You have to state clearly what your motion is and not defer to others unless there's amendment later on.
While not the primary reason for my motion to deny, I would like to also mention the fact that the density has been increased in the CO1 area beyond the approvable number of lots for that area.
Okay. Mr. Carter, is that?
Yes.
Is that adequate? Okay. We have a motion on the floor that, that Mr. Carter has said is adequate for denial. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, have multiple seconds. All right, now any discussion of the motion to deny docket PZ 19001, preliminary open space subdivision plan for 80 lots? Mr. McWilliams.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to support the motion that is on the floor to deny for the reasons, obviously, that were mentioned. Another big reason for me is I'm intimately familiar with Goshen Lane and have been longer than most people in this room have been alive. But
Yeah, don't
there was a book.
justify.
Am I testifying?
You might be, just be careful. This is just, let's go to the motion and what you support your decision, but
You don't want me to say all this? Okay, I
You
support
don't.
Ms. Benet.
I prefer you don't.
Take
Okay.
it for what it's worth.
Any further discussion?
I just want to be clear, Jan, did you second? Were you the
I
second?
did.
Okay.
Yes.
There were multiples, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
Yes.
do you recognize Jan
Jan
as the
Horton.
second? Okay.
Second. Yep. Okay, any further discussion on the motion to deny? Okay, seeing no discussion, further discussion, Ms. Nunn, if you would, let's take the vote. And this is a motion on docket PZ 19001 to deny.
Okay, Ms. Bonet,
Yes.
Mr. McWilliams,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil, Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Finney,
Yes.
Mr. Halfling,
Yes.
Mr. Hampton,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Klingenfuss.
Yes.
All right, the motion on docket PZ 19001 is passed on a vote of 12-0. So the motion, it is a motion to deny. So. All right, we're going to take a 10-minute recess to get reset for our next docketed item.
You guys did a really good job. I mean, serious.
There's leftover lunch, yes, good if you want some.
Yeah, I had to do a hell of a lot of thinking. That's some of the best attorneying I've seen. Well, you did. You did. You crossed a lot of T's and dotted a lot of I's. But there's nothing you could have said that would have overcome for me Goshen Lane. I mean, that's just, unless you were gonna fix it all the way through, and you shouldn't have to do that. And it wouldn't be cost effective anyway.
I didn't know how much further.
You've changed the name of your firm. You changed the name of your firm. I thought you had a third or fourth person in. Oh, I misunderstood you. So,
Well, thank you.
Good job. 1 year to change 50%.
when you said they did a good job, Dan Hempel looked around and I thought he was in the exorcist. Now, which one's the next one?
Can they go back and ask for that property, that CO1 to be changed?
Yes.
So you think that's what they'll do? And you think they got so much into this?
Well, they just put 53 lots in.
I worry about everything.
Well, they could go and
You
make the
should have seen me in the
CO1
courtroom.
acre lots. I mean, some of them be acre lots, but they won't want to do that for sewer. because it's all important. That's why they, I mean, basically what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Amy,
I mean, you can't build a subdivision economically and have bigger, 1 acre lots and sewer.
I thought I got an email that
There's a